Ghouls and ghoulettes, my name is Parallax Abstraction, and welcome back to Retro Flashback Halloweek! So, after showing you an Amiga game yesterday, we are mixing up platforms once again, and now we're playing something for MS-DOS. Yeah, we're going back a little ways in PC gaming here. So, this is a... this is a weird one. This is a title called Waxworks that came out in 1992 from a company called HorrorSoft, who made, well, horror games. They've now been rebranded as AdventureSoft, and they make a lot of point-and-click stuff for the most part. And this title is a flick-screen adventure game, kind of like Zombie, but a lot different, and I would dare say a hell of a lot weirder. So, it's really kind of hard to explain this game to you guys, but I'm going to attempt to show you what I can here. But the plot of this game is very, very hard to understand, but you can see a little bit here. But essentially what has happened is your family has been cursed, and your twin brother, or the twin brother of your character, is due to inherit that curse. So your goal is to enter these parallel dimensions that are contained within Waxwork creations that your uncle owns, who has since died and put his spirit within this crystal ball to serve as your hint guide. Bear with me, I'm not even kidding here. And, well, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to read you a little bit off the top of the Wikipedia plot synopsis from this game, because he's kind of explaining it a little bit here, but this makes it a little clearer. Many years ago, a gypsy witch named Ixana stole a chicken from an ancestor of the player, who chopped off her hand as punishment for the theft. No, this is not a joke. Ixana retaliated by placing a terrible curse on the ancestor that would take effect whenever twins were born into his family line. One twin would grow up to be good, while the other would become evil. This continues to the present day, and the player's twin brother, Alex, is next in line to inherit the curse. Yeah, so that's the principle here. So what's neat and different about this game? Well, it was fairly technologically advanced for the time. This is 1992, so this looks a little bit primitive, but this was pretty impressive at the time, technology-wise. Looks decent. The MIDI music in it is has a really irritating composition to it, if you ask me, but, you know, hey, what do I know? It was also kind of neat because it had well, really 5 in the end, but 5 distinct worlds with different types of enemies and environments and objectives to go through. And what was cool about this is that you could attack it in any order you want. So the game starts you with the pyramid waxwork and suggests that you go there first, but you can go around to the mine waxwork, and yeah, I know, what the hell, right? You go there, and then you can also go to this waxwork, which is basically where you go in here. We'll show you a little bit of each of these, but where you kind of get framed for Jack the Ripper's murders. And you can also have to get yourself through a zombie-infested graveyard. So, quite a bit of a mix-up. But that's what was really neat about this, is all of these environments were distinctly different and had very, very unique and different things to do. And in addition to that, while the puzzles in this game are very weird and obtuse, and the combat is even harder, what was neat about this is you had your little uncle hidden in a crystal ball, and you can ask him questions. He'll either give you some information. So you see here, he's giving you a little bit of a briefing here on this stuff. But when you get into certain areas, you can ask for general information about the areas contained within each waxwork, as well as just ask for straight-up hints with the puzzles, which is pretty cool. So that's what this waxwork is. So we're going to show you a little bit of each one here. I'll be honest with you, from a gameplay perspective, this title definitely does not hold up all that well. It is very cumbersome. The combat, in particular, is extremely frustrating and difficult. This game will challenge the hell out of you. But if you can see it through, you can see some pretty cool, different stuff. A horror game being done in this flick screen fashion was unusual enough, but one that did things in a very different way, like this one does, was even rarer. So, as you can see here, there is some investigative stuff to do here. So, like a flick screen point-and-click adventure game, you can sort of move your mouse around and see the different items that you have. And when you click on them, you're given options and things you can find out. A lot of this stuff is not that useful. Some of it can be useful. So, for example, there's this chest. What's in this chest? A brooch. Okay. Why not? So we'll take that. And you see it's fairly simple like that. So I've just entered combat mode here. So you can enter combat mode in any screen, but by default you don't have any weapons. So you gotta take dudes out with some use these at your peril indeed. So you've got to take out some guys bare-fisted, which can be really, really tough, but you can find weapons as you go about things here. So this pyramid architect looks to be in a bit of a bad way. Perhaps he is dead. You think? I don't know, maybe. Let's see. Oh, dude. Bad day, eh? Oof. And this was the other key thing about this game. It's graphic. And I mean, yeah, okay, it's positively quaint by today's standards, perhaps. So this is probably related to a puzzle of some kind. Yeah, it's positively quaint by today's standards, but back when this game came out, this was graphic. It was pretty disturbing and a little bit controversial, I would say, for sure. And that's what was different about it. But this is a game that is definitely not for everybody. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at it now because I consider this to be a fairly important thing. But I don't know how much I would really play of this game to this day. It's pretty... Uh-oh. What's up, buddy? Hua! Hua! Oh, he's got a sword. I've got my fists. This is really not going so well for me, is it? So there is a bit of a method to this combat, but for the most part, it's... Holy crap. That's the first time I've ever beaten that dude. In this game, I gotta say, I have not had... Fine sword in his right hand. Word up. I've never beaten this dude. So now... Oh, I gotta pick up his sword first. See, this is definitely an adventure game. You've got to do things in this very specific order that it wants. But for whatever reason, it won't let me pick it up. I'd love to pick it up, but I can't anyway. We're not going to waste too much time on that. So, yeah, I don't know how much I would play of this game today. You've definitely got to have patience for both the style of the game in terms of attempting to find your way around, and especially the combat. The combat in this game is very, very cumbersome and very, very tough. And as you can see, when you're just trying to navigate your way around, because there's no animation between screen transitions, it can be a little jarring and you can lose your bearings very quickly in terms of finding your way around. So it definitely hasn't aged well. But it's a unique experience in that it is a flick screen horror game that has some very graphic elements to it, and not something you saw a lot of back in this era. Oh, hey buddy. Wait, a priest. Are you friendly? You are most certainly not. So some of this involves trying to get hits in on guys, but also attempting to dodge when possible, but it is, needless to say, fairly difficult. And as you can see, this is just a lot of button mashing for the most part. It's really not a intuitive system. And the combat, especially in the later sections of this game, just gets unbelievably difficult. But your ultimate goal is that you have to get through all 4 of these waxworks, and then when you complete that, there's an additional thing beyond that in which you sort of get the story wrapped up. I think we're gonna get killed here. Oh, jeez. My day did not go well. So, didn't save, so we're gonna restore here, and I'm just gonna go back and I'll show some of the other worlds to you. Probably won't get very far into any of these, because the Egyptian one is sort of the starter area. These other ones are technically more difficult, so... But as you can see, in this mine area, very different environment, and the game doesn't pull any punches off the bat. It's like, hey, what's going on? Fight this horrible, horrible thing. Yeah, I've never actually gotten past this yet, so I don't know if we will at this point. Unfortunately, it probably would have behooved me to start this a little bit further in than I have, but it's not... This has been a bit of a tough game to get into, and I actually only picked this up today, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to cover this or not, but I decided it would be an interesting one to talk about. But you sort of get what's interesting about it here. Very, very different areas, very different enemies. The amount of art that is in this game for the time is quite impressive. Very, very unique areas. Oh, Jesus. That didn't go so hot, did it? Let's try that again and see if we can find another way through there. My assumption is that this game wants you to be a little bit better equipped when you come in here than you are. Ooh. I don't know if there is a doctor, dude. Oh, now he's unconscious. Can I search him? Ooh, a lighter? Saw a lighter in there. Yes, a screwdriver. There's my screwdriver. Okay, so now I got myself a weapon. Maybe I can whoop that zombie's ass a little bit more there. Well, these elevator controls are pretty busted. Unfortunate. Alright. Alright, so we now have a screwdriver. Take that! And that! And that! Stab you in the face! This may still not be... Damn right. What do you got to say now, huh? Damn right, one of my victims. Ain't no one at... Whoa. Okay, well, we're not going that way. So as you can see, perhaps a little Cthulhu-esque in this area. Could be, could be. Well then. I love all these different death screens. They're all quite amusing. So as you can see, not a game for the weak of patience, shall we say. Definitely not. And I appear to have crashed it because I've asked it to restart and it's not doing that. So that's problematic. Alright, well, give me just a moment, guys, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. The game seemed to get a little confused and hung up on me there. So, yeah, we're going to show you the last two areas here. So, this one's kind of an interesting one. So, we're going to duck in here. So this is one where you're basically thrown into a scenario where you're dropped right in front of someone who was murdered by Jack the Ripper. Uh-oh. And, well, you start off pretty much immediately being pursued by the police. And you've got to find your way out of this and to get to the end of the area so that you can continue to pursue your artifact. What? What's up, boys? Oh, I guess I better go. They don't care for me very much in that tavern. Oh, jeez. Hi, officer. No, you didn't see me. No, I know nothing about no dead ladies. What you talking about? You is crazy. So I haven't played a lot of this area, so I don't really know what the key thing is here that you're looking to do, but this is what's neat about this game, is it just kind of... Nope, didn't see me. Didn't see me. But this game just kind of drops you in the middle of situations, and that's an unruly mob. They were looking right at me, but sure, okay. Damn orneries. But that's what's neat about this game, is it just sort of dropped you into stuff, and you had to sort of had to figure out what it was you needed to do, and just go from there. Oh, we got another bar here. Not a lot of people up in here, though. Ooh, dude, rough night. Point of the black stuff, landlord. Bit of karaoke or something. We don't do karaoke, sir. We only, we don't do karaoke, sir. We only do prostitutes. You know how it is. So as you can see, things are very, very... The environments are very different in this, and that's what I like. And it just kind of throws you into the situation. It's like, here's an environment, you figure it out. And this is how this game is tough. The combat is tough, and the game just expects you to figure things out. I mean, this is a trait of a lot of old school games, but I would say a bigger one in case of this one. Oh, God. Okay, that was weird. But if you get caught by the cops in this, you're pretty much screwed right away. And honestly, I'd never seen that ornery mob before, so I don't even know what happens in that case. But let's show you this. Yes, officer. And, oh, man, that didn't go well. Yeah. So, as you can see, more than a little bit of variety, to put it mildly. And, of course, you have that one, and then for the last one, you have your crazy graveyard. As you can see, there's quite a bit of backstory to each of these paintings that you can look into if you want, which I think is pretty interesting. So let's hit this one up. This area, I basically barely managed to do anything in because it's very, very tough. It's a very, very narrow maze, and you will basically get accosted at random by massive zombies, and they're very, very tough to take out. So you really need to come in here with a weapon if you can. And again, you know, it's a really sort of tough maze area that's very hard to see sort of what's going on, and the game just expects you to figure it out. And especially by today's standards, where, oh, jeez. Hey, buddy. That guy kind of looks more like a Terminator, doesn't he, than a zombie? Terminator with some of his skin missing. This game will... That's what the interesting part was. Modern games very much are about leading you by the nose and sort of guiding you through everything. Older school titles like this, they definitely don't necessarily hold up as well, especially mechanically, because they can be clunky to figure out. But they also... there was a certain thrill of adventure and discovery with games like this, and that's what was really cool about them, is you would die a lot, you would get frustrated a lot, and you often had to take notes independent of the game itself in order to keep track of what you were doing. But when you did figure something out, when you crossed that puzzle, when you beat that really tough boss, oh, jeez. I would, ugh. That burrito, man. Oh, I tell you what. But when you figured out your way through these games, that was what was really cool about them. Your objective was to sort of find a way through, and when you did, there was a massive feeling of accomplishment from that. And that was very much the objective with this. And Horrorsoft really had an interesting idea. They were a very small company that was making horror-based games in an era where horror games were really not all that uncommon, or not all that common, I should say. And especially in genres like this, it was just not. This was the realm of fantasy games for the most part. But what I really respect about Horrorsoft is that they found a niche, and it was a small niche, but they managed to survive and make money in that niche for quite some time. Horrorsoft, in the form that put out this game, doesn't exist anymore, but they actually became AdventureSoft, and they are actually still around to this day. As I understand it, they're a very tiny company, but they do still exist, and they're still going. So there's really something to be said for a company that doesn't have necessarily the big, massive AAA ambitions. They were just like, hey, we figured out how to make this cool genre of game, and that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to focus on that and let that be our milestone. And you got to have respect for that. So this game, yeah, it looks dated and it plays very, very clunky, especially the combat. The combat in this game, I dare say, as someone who was around when this came out, I think the combat in this is a little dated to begin with. But if you can manage some clunky mechanics and some dated visuals, there is some fun to be had here. There's a lot of neat things to explore and find out, and some real gratification to be had by figuring out the challenges in this game. I think it's worth checking out. So yeah, the game is Waxworks, developed by Horrorsoft and published by Accolade in 1992. This came out on the Amiga as well, but we are looking at the MS-DOS version. You can get this game right now if you want from Good Old Games. That's the version that I'm playing here. As with all titles from Good Old Games, it runs like a top on modern computers. Works very, very well. If you are interested in checking this out for yourself, you can purchase it via a link I have in the description below the video. If you buy it from there, I get a teeny little piece of it, so I would appreciate if you're interested. Oh, God. If you're interested in it, I would appreciate it if you picked it up from there. But I think this is interesting. I mean, if you like flick screen games, which I still do, and you do have some fondness for older school horror, or just want to play a unique flick screen game, I think this is one worth checking out. It's got some cool ideas and some cool concepts, and I mean, it's friggin' weird and it's friggin' hard, but it can there's some real neat stuff to see here. My name has been Parallax Abstraction. Thank you guys all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.